Welcome to Salon Talks. I am Mary Elizabeth Williams, and what a very, very special privilege today. We have Kate del Castillo with us today. She is an international star. She's been performing since she was 6 years old. Since she was 9 years old. People around the world know her from her appearances all across Latin America. Started out in telenovelas. We here might know her better from things like Weeds, Jane the Virgin, my favorite show.
Yes, it's really cool.
The Netflix series La Reina del
Sur.
You do it better than I do.
Ingobernable.
Which just came back after 8 years to Netflix this past spring. And she is here gracing us in New York City for a couple of weeks through August
18th.
August 18th in a new incredible, profound, moving, earth-shaking show, one-woman show called The Way She Spoke. Kate, hi.
Hi, Mary Elizabeth.
I want to talk about this. Let's just talk about this show in general. It is you playing a multitude of characters, and it is based on the real-life story that some of us know, but we don't really entirely know, about the femicide, the violence against women in Juarez, Mexico. Talk to me a little, for those who maybe don't know as much about it, the inspiration for this show and the people that you are playing in it.
Yeah, it's actually the journey the author took down to Juarez. His parents are from there. And when he was younger, he went there and he wanted to know what was happening, because everybody knew about the desaparecidas, the people who have, actually the women who have disappeared just like that, just vanished, and nobody knows where they are or what happens. But it's been for decades, and it's not stopping. So then everybody thought that in the beginning there was, like a serial killer, and they arrested a couple of guys who probably have done something, but then it started happening all the time, so it never stopped, and it hasn't stopped, which is what is really, really awful. It started in the early 90s, and Mexicans, we have no memory, so they're being forgotten, actually. Even the place, which is now a memorial, the first place where they found 8 women dead, 8 bodies, now it's a memorial, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of names of missing women, and most of them worked in las maquiladoras, which is the factories that, I mean, weird enough, most of them are owned by the United States. So it's something really weird that's happening, because it's a border city, and border cities are always very dangerous for obvious reasons, but here it just keeps happening, and nobody does anything because nobody wants to get killed, so nobody talks about it, nobody says anything about it, at least in this side in that side of the border. So this play is a little bit reminding us what's going on, that's still happening, and as we were talking right before, it's a feminicide. It happens everywhere. It's just this hatred for women, because they're not just killing them, they're raping them, and they're ripping them apart. So it's really, really sad, and it goes all over the world. It's something about men hating women.
Absolutely, and the play, very early on, you said that you describe a particular murder and the condition that the woman's body was in, and it starts out with you walking in as the actress, sitting down to read something, and then you get to this part where you read the details of this crime, and this collective intake of breath comes over the audience, and we begin to realize what we're in for. And it's so important that you say that this is, you put it in the play that this might be the easiest place in the world to murder a woman, but it's certainly not the only one, by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
And to give some context to the violence, this is something I found. Last year in the city, in 1 month, there were 200 murders in a city of 1.5 million. Yeah. New York City has 8.6 million people. Last year, total, there were 289 murders. It defies the mind, the violence that goes on there, and the shadow that these women live under, the shadow that these mothers
Oh
and
my God,
fathers then have to
yeah.
live with, and the fear of retaliation
Of course.
the whole time. And you talk about that in the play. And you go into all these different characters. I want to ask you about this because you play the actress, you play the playwright, you play a mother, a sister, you play a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, what is it like to do, this is a challenge you said, can I say what you said? You said that people say you're ballsy because you met with El Chapo, but this is the ballsiest, this is the ballsiest thing you've ever done. This is a ballsy thing, Kate. How do you do that? How do you prepare to play all these different people?
To be honest, and with the most humble way that I can put it out there, I don't think I'm prepared. So for me, of course, it's been really, really challenged because I need the people to get the message across the way it has to be. And of course, as you can know, it's not my language, it's my second language. That's the most challenging thing for me because it's not about the accent, because I love that Americans now, they are much more open to different accents, and that's fine. And she's a Mexican actress, right?
And there are parts in the show where you speak in Spanish, and the audience that I was with was clearly, there were a lot of Spanish speakers there, but the people like me, it's like you can go along with it, you can handle it if you don't speak Spanish.
Yes, and I think it's also cool. I love that monologue, because it's monologues within the monologue, right? So they're different people, but I want people to get out of there and understand exactly what's happening there and what's going on around the world, as we said. But it was challenging because of the language. It was challenging because I've never done a monologue before. I've never done a play in English before.
This is your New York debut.
This is my, exactly.
You're going to come back and do more, though, right?
You
got a taste for it, I hope?
Oh my God, I hope so. It's been a blessing to come here off Broadway. That was one of my bucket lists, but I never would have thought that I would have been off Broadway on a monologue talking about my country, and something that it's so painful for me as a woman, as a Mexican, and that hurts so much my country, and that shadow that still's there, and people don't want to go to my country because they think it's very dangerous, and this and that. Those things hurt me because I love Mexico. I'm very Mexican and I love my country. So these issues and these things that are horrible, they just hurt me a lot. And once I read it, I couldn't say no.
I want to ask, how do you, it's not just about the going into these different voices or the way you change your body posture in certain moments, but to put up with that kind of emotional weight and to sit there. And there's a point in the show where you are reading the names of these women, just a tiny, tiny number of them, and you are reading what was done to them. Mm-hmm. And you keep reading, and you keep reading, and you as the actress become very emotional, but I can't imagine that you as Kate, bearing witness to that every night, it's not also tremendously emotional. How do you do that and then go out into the night and have, I hope, some fun?
I don't. I haven't had. You know what? It is. Thank you for thinking about me, because it is very challenging. I wake up every single day. It's like so sad. Like my head aches. I get out of there very emotional. I have an altar there. I ask permission to all the desaparecidas to be a via and to pass the message the way it should be. And, so I do my ritual and this and that. I try, because I'm an actress and I'm used to doing this, It's just every single night, and every single night it gets me in different moments in the play. It's just something that's in there. And then when I read the names, as you said, they change me the names all the time.
Really?
So I'm always reading them for the first time.
So your response is...
It's natural, and I can read as far as I can go.
Wow.
It's totally natural, and it's up to me. Joe told me, you read until you can not keep reading anymore. And that's every night. So it has to affect me in some way, but I'm trying to do my best.
Wow. So you get that list and you're unprepared for what you're going to read on it. And
yes.
and the names and their ages and what was done to them.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Because when I saw you, you pause at a moment because the victim was 3 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because the reaction that you gave seemed very sincere, and now I can see why.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a lot to put yourself through.
It is. But you know what? That's what we need to do. People that we have voice actors. I mean, going out there, if I have an audience, it's like one of the monologues said, is this for a play? If someone sees this, can tell me, you know, she has no idea what a play probably is. But if I can give the message, pass on a message to one person that, you know, that might change his view or something, for me, my job is done. You know, it's not only, I'm not thinking only that this will be great for my career, which I think is just the biggest opportunity, you know, as an actress, but as a woman, as a Mexican, as an activist, because I am an activist. So for me, it was like, I cannot say no, and I need to, I think the most dangerous thing right now in this era is silence, is to keep silent. So we have to go out there, even, and it hurts. Yes, it hurts, but I cannot compare the pain that all the other women have been through, and parents and sisters and brothers, and so whatever I'm going through is nothing.
Wow. And it's, I saw on your Instagram you had a guest who's an activist come in, and she talked about it in her story as art as activism. And it feels like, you know, for a variety of unfortunate reasons, we are in this moment where art is a great conduit to activism. And this is not, I want to make it very clear, this is not go in and medicinally subject yourself to something difficult, even though it is a difficult show to watch. Mm-hmm. It is also beautiful and poignant and beautifully portrayed and sparsely done in a way that you connect with it as a piece of art, as well as a piece of activism.
Yes, and I think, you know, that's very important that you say that. I love it because the people that have been there tell me that the whole thing, you know, it's so simple, everything, but it's elegant, and it's you feel the loneliness of the actor and of these people that I start reading about and playing. So I think it's a lot of information too, but I love it when I feel, because I'm narcissistic, but you know, you feel that so powerful. But it's so challenging at the same time, and the responsibility of being on stage, that everybody is not only seeing you, whatever they see, they're listening to you. And I can hear a pin drop, that's what, because it's just so silent, and I feel so close to the audience because I'm interacting literally with the audience, and I love it when they are interested in what I'm trying to put out there, and for the words. Because there's nothing but words.
Yeah, and you can, I'm sure there are many nights when you listen and you can hear people crying and responding, and I'm sure afterwards you get people coming up to you and telling you their stories, which is also another thing to carry within you, as your character says, or one of your characters says, like, once you know, you can't unknow this. But I want to ask you, because on the one hand, something like this gives attention to something that has to be given attention to. And there has been a spotlight shining on Juarez for 25 years in a different way. And that is, there have been movements to try and change what's going on there. There has to be attention to it. But the other side of that is that kind of light can be exploited in certain ways. And we've certainly seen in our own country, when you have a president who refers to people as rapists and drug dealers, that the problems of Mexico or a Mexican city can be used as an argument for racists. How do we combat that? How do we take charge of this story and put it back where it belongs, in the hands of victims and survivors and the people directly affected by the violence, as opposed to those who are perpetuating it? It's an easy question, right? Sorry, I like to throw a few softballs.
Oh my God, it's so, it makes me so sad, to be honest, because I cannot understand how someone like that can be in charge of the most powerful country. So then it makes me feel like, okay, so then there's no hope for Mexico. You know what I mean? And it's all intertwined in so many ways, because we depend from the United States. The United States depends on drugs from us, you know. So it's all correlation. I don't know if I'm.
No, you got it.
Okay.
There's a correlation. You got it.
Okay.
You speak English better than I do. Don't worry. You're doing great.
Thank you. So I think it's everything, but the narrative still is from men, and until we don't change who's writing the narratives, it's not going to change, because we live in a macho world still. Not only Latinos, you know, here, as you can see with our president. I was going to say your president, but no, it's also my president.
I usually just say the president.
The president. I always say the 45 because I think it's better, but he doesn't deserve more than that. But, you know, I think it's everything. I was blown away with the play when I knew that they are owned and operated by the United States, most of the maquiladoras. I was like, okay, because we need their help to come see. And in a moment, I think they sent people from the United States to do a research to see what was going on. And I was like, well, we need them. But then everything is, again, where does it start?
Right.
You know, and the narrative still is from men. And the other day also, somebody told me, well, yeah, this problem that women have with the Me Too and I'm like, oh, the women have? Men are the ones who are killing women. Men are the ones who are raping women. Men are the ones who are abusing women and their power. And so it's a men problem.
Yeah. Yeah, don't ask us to solve it.
Know,
maybe stop raping and killing.
Exactly. So I was like, why do because as an activist, I go to places and I talk about things and this and that. And they're always like, we need more women like you. And I'm like, no, we need more men like me. And we need more men always in this chats, in this more. They think it's women are the ones who have to go to the theater to see this kind of plays, and it's exactly the opposite.
Right. It's the violence against women is not a problem that women have to solve. It's a problem that men have to solve.
Absolutely.
I think it's a really important point to make, and I agree. I would love for there to be more men like you in the world, Kate. Absolutely. So speaking of misperceptions, I can't let you go. We alluded to it a little earlier. 3 years ago, you had kind of an interesting moment in your life and your career around El Chapo. I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about an actor, because I'm interested in you. And I want to know how the way that story came out, the way that it was reported on, the way that there was so much conversation around you, someone who'd been acting for 30 years already, someone who's internationally known, and suddenly your story is being defined by other people. How has that changed you? How has that changed the way you make choices in your life and in your career and in your activism going forward?
That's been for sure one of the worst moments in my life, and you know, when you decide to do something, and I am very like that since I was a little girl. I was revolutionary. I was like, I've always been like that. But when you decide to do something and you know the consequences and you still do it, that's fine. But you know already. But I didn't know. I didn't know in that moment what was going to happen, and it has to do a lot because I'm a woman. If it only was Sean or the other two producers that went with me, nothing would have happened. The thing is that because I'm a woman, they wanted to destroy me in Mexico. And they even said that I was like la puta of El Chapo, you know, that